I'd like to welcome those that's in our television, in our audience that's joining us, and those that are joining us for television. Also, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Tom Colson that's always here, that's supporting us. And at this time, Tamara, we have the roll call.
Here.
Lyman Hardy. Here. Thomas Harris.
Here.
Aaron Hines.
Here.
Ricky Hines.
Here.
Matt Nobles.
Here.
Johnny Penner.
Here.
Kenneth Ross.
Here.
Danny Smith.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we were notified that Clayton Malloy Jr. will not be here tonight.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we have our prayer by Matt and our pledge by Danny. We all stand.
Lord, we'd like to thank you for allowing us all to be here tonight, and please help guide us in making good decisions for our county. Thank you for the planning department and all their hard work. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need to approve the minutes of our last April 15th meeting.
Make a motion, we second.
Everybody that's in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed likewise. Okay. At this time, we have Brian to come up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, got one preliminary plat on the agenda, as you've seen in your packet already. Laurel Glen. This proposed subdivision is located out on Major Smith Road, west of its intersection with NC 43 South, Chicago's Township. It's going to be 18 lots, 29.5 acres. You can see on the screen now the site area. Site is not within the 100-year floodplain. It is on rural agricultural. GUC will be the electricity provider, and Eastern Pines will be the water provider. A few conditions and requirements that on the plan. We'll need a soil erosion sedimentation control and a construction plan. There's a stream feature on the site located between proposed lots 7 and 8, and that's subject to the Neuse River riparian buffer rules. They'll need to show that 50-foot riparian buffer on the subsequent maps, or they'll need to supply us with the sufficient documentation to exempt that feature from the rules. Fire hydrant needs to be relocated to meet the spacing requirement of 400 feet from each lot. They need to add an electrical easement from the fronts of lots 8 through 12 along the proposed Molly Lane. Add an electrical easement across the portion of lot 12 along Major Smith Road, and add additional guiding easements per GUC's markup map. A note that you guys probably haven't ever had, but we'll probably start hearing a lot more, is the developer is responsible for the installation of cluster box units per United States Postal Service. It's a new requirement that we were just made aware of recently. Basically, what they're requiring now is any internal access roads are not going to have curbside service anymore. So what they'll have is a centralized mailbox for all units or all homes in the subdivision. And it will be the developer's responsibility. The planning department really doesn't have any bearing on where it goes. We just want to make sure that it does get addressed during the planning stages of the plan. But it will be the developer's responsibility to get with the United States Postal Service, make sure that that's addressed before plan approval. Here's a picture of the site from the proposed entrance to Molly Lane. This going east along Major Smith Road. It's going west along Major Smith Road. Just a shot going northeast, just across the field and back across southwest. Another note we wanted to get by you guys too was the stub out. Staff and TRC did not recommend a stub out road. It's basically a topographical issue. Once you get to the end of the proposed cul-de-sac, the drops off about 3 or 4 feet, and it's all hydric soils, really wet back there. And plus the stream feature really hinders a stub out proposal. So I just want to make you aware of that, guy. make you aware of that. And then TRC did recommend conditional approval of the plan. At this time, I'll entertain any questions you guys have.
Is any fire hydrant already out there, Brian?
I think there's one along Major Smith Road, but with the building of the interior road, they'll have to put one in there.
One in there,
Anytime subdivision ordinance requires that we put one in, and it has to be 400 feet from each lot.
Okay.
So they were, for some reason or other, he had it about 20 feet away from, 20 feet beyond what the 400-foot requirement was on one of them. So they'll just have to relocate it. If you,
Brian, did you, when you said mailboxes, is that gonna be one central
it'll be just,
mailbox for the 29 or 20?
picture like an apartment complex with a big box up there, and then each house is gonna have a key to go up to their mailbox.
Okay.
It's an intent for the Postal Service to save some money. So I think they're thinking behind it is they're gonna ride up to one spot and not go to each house.
So in other words, just making me more lazy.
And from the guidelines we've had, I think the ultimate decision is going to be with the postmaster, but I think they're going to be pretty staunch on making everybody do it. So
They've already started doing it.
absolutely, yeah, yeah. I think the
In
actual
Aden, they've done it in Aden.
the actual law became effective back in 2012, but with our lack of subdivision activity, we just weren't ever made aware of it. We do send our plans to the postmaster but just with the lack of activity, we didn't know about it.
What's the demarcation point of what defines when you have to put one of those in?
Internal subdivision street, so
Doesn't have
anything,
doesn't have a lot count, house count?
not, if they have to turn in off a state main road, they're gonna require it.
And there's no guidance about where to locate the box yet?
There is a guidance, they have an information packet for developers, it gives a kind of the specs out on them. Basically, you wanna, if it's a curb and gutter, they'll have to go on the opposite, or the outside of the curb, get out of the right of way, obviously, and, on a roadside ditch on the opposite side of the ditch. But it's definitely gonna be an expenditure to the developer, and it's something that they're gonna have to consider.
But as far as inside of the development, there's no location requirements or anything like
They
that?
just say centralized. But it doesn't even, I mean, specs show some at the front of the entrance, or at the front entrance, some show at the rear. So, I mean, it would just really depend on where the developer can find that land.
I read it and it says subject to approval by the postmaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a program analyst out of Fayetteville that, as far as I know, everything that this approved is going through her. And that contact information is in that information packet that we're actually gathering stuff now to send out to the local surveyors, engineers, developers, and make them aware of it.
Okay. We didn't have nobody sign up to speak on this, did we?
No, sir.
I know for public comments and all, and since we didn't have anything, okay. All right, thank you, Brian. This time with James.
Need a motion on that.
Uh,
Need a motion on the preliminary plat.
All right,
I move to approve.
Second.
all right, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, likewise. Ayes have it. Thank you, James.
Very good. Okay, just a couple of informational items. First up, our hazard mitigation plan. You might recall at your April meeting, you gave a unanimous recommendation to the Board of Commissioners to adopt this plan. I wanted to report back to you that in fact the Commissioners dealt with this earlier this month and adopted it on May 4th. Staff is currently going around. Brian was over with the Village of Simpson Monday night. I was with the City of Greenville last night, so we're going around with our circuit rider tour trying to ensure all the municipal governments agree with adopting this before July the 15th. So we're actively doing that. It's looking promising. Other counties, such as Greene County, are currently doing the same thing. We hope that everyone has it fully adopted by July 15th, which is our kind of pending deadline date, especially here in Pitt County. So again, thank you for your support on that, and certainly this plan is going to do us a lot of good as we move forward. The other item that's in your package too, wanted to make you aware that there has been an official approval on the updated plan for the Alice F. Keene District Park out on County Home Road. This is the county's only district park. Of course, there's a lot of parks at community schools throughout the county, walking trails and so forth, but this is our only full bona fide district park. What you see on the screen here now is what was approved by the commissioners as far as the layout. Most of this is existing. Few buildings in red shown here are proposed buildings such as a gymnasium. We'll be actively seeking funding for that, hopefully through some grants. An amphitheater, a few other items. Also the incorporation of the greenhouse property. If you're familiar with that, Pitt Community College used to run a greenhouse facility out there right off County Home Road. It's about 3 acres. Has some large oak trees, mature trees, prime area for some picnic shelters and more passive recreation. So we've incorporated that into the plan. An extension of the community garden, which has been a huge success out there. And probably the most significant area, or the largest area to be incorporated in, is an additional walking trail. And this would be a more natural walking trail, not looking at having an asphalt surface, but more of a natural surface. All said, after the adoption of this plan by the commissioners back on May 4th, we also moved forward along with that action and requested that about 20 acres here on the south side, where some of these new improvements would be going, that be designated as part of the district park, and that was also approved by the commissioners at that meeting. So we'll be actively recruiting or soliciting for donations or for grants over the upcoming years to try to make this become a reality. This park is very heavily used, and if you get an opportunity, you certainly need to take advantage of this asset to our community. Any questions about either one of those plans? If not, you have your departmental report in your package and a couple of articles as well. And with that, Mr. Chairman, as you know, we can always, there's a lot of information on our webpage for the planning department. We invite citizens to visit that and certainly contact us if they have any questions. And that's all we have for tonight.
Anybody on the board has anything to add?
I'll just give a quick update on the additional safety things that they're doing at the intersection of the Old River Road and 222. They moved some water lines today. They're going to increase the width of the road next week, and supposedly in the next week or so install the median with the stop sign and whatever. So those things are happening, and I think the residents around there are excited that things are moving along.
Very good.
I'd like to mention one thing. The rollabout, or whatever you call it, out at McGowan's Crossroads. I hit McGowan's Crossroads last Friday at 4 o'clock. That's gonna be a mess. I mean, you sat there a half hour because you had all the Mills Road traffic coming from Conley and from the other school, and you couldn't get in and out. I don't know how that roundabout's gonna work.
We did have a meeting just yesterday with the local transportation planner with NCDOT. We talked about both these projects. Certainly the safety improvements at Old River Road and NC 222. Also the roundabout. There are a lot of utilities at that intersection of Ivy and Mills Road. It could cause some delays in getting that done this summer. That was the intent, to try to get it done during the summer while school was out. So they'll be looking further at the schedule to see if it can be done. If it's done during the school year, it is going to cause some inconveniences for folks. It is a safety improvement that's also needed at that particular intersection. So the roundabout has been designed. It's just a lot of other upfront work that has to be completed before you'll see it constructed.
I think it works good on Fire Tower and Portertown, but I don't think Fire Tower and Portertown's got the traffic they gonna have for all those kids.
At certain times of the day, I would tend to agree it's much more heavily traveled at McGowan's Crossroad, yes.
Anyone that has anything else? Do we stand adjourned? Thank y'all.